I would like to say emphatically that the government of Ghana is planning on shutting down social media. This is a Friday editorial. So with all due respect, today I will start with what I call the rough cut. The rough cut is basically to speak on some issues, clarify some situations, clarify some issues, and then move forward to the topic of the day. The rough cut today is going to be about Ken Agyapong, the 1962 tyrant. Now, what I want to say to Ken Agyapong is simple. Mr. Agyapong, what I want you to do for me as a Ghanaian and for other Ghanaians is that if you want to save your reputation, if you want to prove to Ghanaians that you did not contract Sexy Dondon or Daniel Asiedu to kill JB Danquah, you have to do just 3 things. Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time here. I know you are talking, you are saying so many things. Just do 3 things for Ghanaians to know that you are not involved in the murder of JB Danquah. Kennedy Agyapong, first, tell the CID boss, Tiwa Ado Danquah. Second, tell the IGP. Third, tell the Attorney General. These 3 people, they have this statement. Kennedy Agyapong, call these people and tell them that Kevin Taylor has lied about the statement Sexy Dondon wrote, and that they should come out and officially tell Ghanaians that your name was not mentioned in this statement Sexy Dondon made. Simple. If you think you want to save your reputation, for the IGP, the Attorney General, and the CID boss to come out and tell us Ghanaians that Sexy Dondon never mentioned your name as the person who contracted him to kill JB Danquah. Kennedy, you can blow all the hot air in the world. The fact of the case is, per the statement here, you contracted Sexy Dondon to kill JB Danquah. If you want to prove Ghanaians wrong, not me, I don't care. If you want to tell Ghanaians, prove Ghanaians that you did not do that, do these 3 things. Yes. Force the IGP, force the CID boss, and force the Attorney General to come out. You are in power. Yes. You were saying so many things the last time. When it was NDC time, why didn't they arrest you? Today, it is your time. You are in power. So force them to come out. If you say you are saying the truth, you are speaking the truth. These 3 things, just that. Stop the argument, stop the insult, and tell them, because you are the most powerful man in Ghana, as you always brag about. So I know you can make this happen. For the IGP, for the Attorney General, and for the CID boss to come out and refute whatever I said, that Kevin Taylor lied, and that the document they have is different from what I said, that Sexy Dondon stated emphatically in the statement that you contracted him to kill JB Danquah. If you do that, then Kennedy Agyapong, I'll come back and tell the whole Ghana that is a lie. But as it stands today, per this statement, and from what I have seen with my eyes, and I have been told and seen with my eyes, you contracted Sexy Dondon to kill JB Danquah. Kennedy, you have to understand something. When we, the young ones, advise you, you have to take it. Because you were once a young man. You see, you are not the only wise person in Ghana. You might look like a 1962 Iron, which I respect, but you're not the most wise person. You are very vulnerable. You talk without boundaries. Mr. Kennedy, there's something you have to realize, that your party, the MPP, this government, the president, they have neglected you. They see you as an obstruction. They have no respect for you. Haven't you realized something? Since you said the chief of staff and Abu Jinapo contracted you to destroy some people, which was reported in the news. Yeah, to destroy Anas and a couple of people. Since that time, have you met the president one-on-one before? Have the president given you that audience in his office to sit with him before? Because I have facts that the president has decided not to talk to you again. And you are scared and you are shy to talk about it. The last time you went to the Jubilee House, you sat there for like 3 hours and they told you the president was in the office. The next thing you realized, he was sitting in his car driving away. They don't respect you again because your mouth and the lies. Mr. Kennedy, if I were you, I'll put my 60 years aside, put my 1962 aside, and listen to genuine advice. Listen to genuine advice. Haven't you also thought of it? When you went to Parliament to meet the disciplinary committee, Your colleagues from the other side, the NPP, they were the majority on that committee, but you lost. They voted against you. Haven't you thought of it? They don't need you. You have become a smelling object in a very decent room. They came together to say, let's make sure we get rid of this guy because he's an embarrassment to this NPP government. Haven't you thought of it? How you have the majority and then you lost in that disciplinary case. Mr. Kennedy, I don't want to spend more than 3 minutes on you. So please, listen to advice. You might look like the 1962 box iron, but the simplest advice I'll give you is sit back and think. Think small. Insulting parents and kids and women, it will not change. It will not bring jobs. It will not build hospitals. It will not change the economy. So I will advise you to start acting as a matured 60-year-old man. 3 things. Yes, 3 things. Prove to Ghanaians that you are the Kennedy Japan who can talk for things to change. Let the IGP, the CID boss, and the Attorney General come out with a statement and say that Sexy Don Don did not say that in this statement that you contracted him to kill JB Danquah. I'm done. I'm not going to deal with you again. Until you do that, you are just blowing hot air. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the story of today. Now you can see some gentlemen behind me. And you can see what's here. Yeah, the government of Ghana led by Nana Akufo-Addo is planning on shutting down social media. Definitely. Indirectly, you will not see it. But today I'm going to run you through the technicalities on how the NCA boss, yes, NCA boss Joseph Anoche is planning on shutting down social media indirectly so that it will affect the 2020 elections. Now, these 4 names you have to keep in mind very well. Today's episode is very important to me because I have a part 2 which I'll bring. And it's specifically about Joseph Anoche, the NCA boss, because he is the orchestrator. He is the man, the coach in all this. These people you have to really put in mind. 4 names. The first person is Joseph Anoche as usual. He's the NCA boss. The second person is Asamoah Boateng. He is also a member who has been given an assignment to make sure that the social media impact is not felt during the 2020 elections, before, during, and after. And then there's somebody you have to be very critical about. You have to be watching closely. His name is McDan. You remember McDan? He was the guy the finance minister ordered ADB to give him $10 million loan. Yes, the finance minister said, give him the loan. How dare you, ADB? And he got it. He's a staunch NPP member. He's part of this clique which is trying everything to make sure that the 2020 election is rigged. Rigged by shutting down social media so that the world does not know what is actually going to happen in Ghana during the election, before, during, and after the elections. These people you have to take pay very close attention to. These 2 brothers, they are called the Laba brothers. They are 2 Lebanese guys. They've lived in Ghana for God knows how long. These 2 people basically are now the main people Akufo-Addo takes IT advice from. They are the guys controlling and pulling all the IT strings when it comes to this government. In fact, they are the guys who are actually monopolizing the EC IT system. You remember Jane Mensah came out to say that the EC system doesn't work. The same system we used in 2015, 2016 to finish a very successful election. Jane Mensah said all the system, the IT, everything, software was fake and it was bogus, and that she was changing it and wanted to give it to a new company. These Laba brothers are the guys who are now monopolizing. The government of Ghana have given the IT system to. So they are actually in control of the EC IT system. 4 people I've mentioned here: Joseph Anoche, Asamoah Boateng, McDan, and the Laba brothers. These Laba brothers are very tricky people. Very, very, very tricky. The government is trying to use, and they are using them now. We need to watch them closely. Now, the person we have to actually be looking at in this whole shutdown saga is this man, Joseph Anoche, the boss of NCA. Let me tell you something. Joseph Anoche, if people don't know his background, he's a very smart guy. Yes, Joseph Anoche has worked with NASA. Yeah, he used to live in Maryland in the United States. He has worked with Cisco. He's one of the few men who have worked with NASA. Yes, he's one of those guys. And there are less than 800 people who know the kind of thing Joseph Anoche knows. Yes, this guy is now the head of NCA. Now, this is his strategy now. He's trying to shut down social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, Facebook, all that. But his main objective is to make sure that he shuts down Facebook slowly from campaign time through to the elections. And this is how he's going to do it. Now I'm going to go into the technicality. So I will beg you to take your time, focus, and listen. Now, there's something we call the undersea cable. We have 3 in Ghana. You know, people don't use satellite again. Satellite is becoming old-fashioned, you know, in the air sky. People use, like, basically with telephone, like say the fiber and all that. We have what we call the undersea cable. Now, there are 3 companies here that serve as a hub to these undersea cables. There's MTN, they have access to that. There's Main One, is another company that also has access to that. And the third company is Vodafone. So basically, with internet, data, like transferring internet to and from Ghana, wherever in the world, you have to go through these 3 companies to get access to our hubs, our cables that brings us internet. Now, this is what is going to happen. Joseph Anochi knows that these 3 companies, they have MPP people there, they have NDC people there, they have CPP people, they have KKK people there. So it's going to be very, very unwise to go in there and tamper with their system. Now, as smart as he is, this is what he's trying to do. There's something that we call the router level. Router level. Like when you have a computer at home, there's something we call the router, right? Basically, the router is like the hub, the station that takes all the information, spreads everything out for your bedroom to get internet, whatever to get internet. That one is called the router level. Then we have the bandwidth manager. Basically, the bandwidth manager is what in layman's terms you say is the traffic light when it comes to supply of internet. Now, what Anochi wants to do is he's not going to go bring any machines from anywhere. Recently, there was this trip they made to Malta. Yes, Anochi, Samuel Boateng, this guy Mark Dan, they went to Malta. We have the transactions, the meeting, everything to go get some expertise here. But he's realized that it's getting too complicated. What he's going to do now is Anochi has a plan, and the plan is he's going to force a traffic. Now, let me break it down for people to understand. The bandwidth manager is basically like the traffic. So if you have a 7-lane street where you have 7 cars going in 7 lanes, Anochi is planning to shut down like 4 of those lanes. I'm trying to break it down simple. He's going to shut down 4 of those lanes. Then what is going to happen is 7 cars in 7 lanes will now try to use 3 lanes. So when campaign starts, during campaign and for election time, people are going to experience something very soon. Their Facebook is going to start getting slower and slower. Yes, he's going to use this bandwidth manager. He can just get a laptop in his room, set some 3 or 4 people up and do this. He doesn't need to go cut any cable. So there's going to be the social media from Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything is going to, especially, he's going to slow down Facebook because he's going to shut that specific channel very, very tightly. So a lot of Ghanaians will be struggling to get internet, smooth running internet. Now you go on your internet, you go on your Facebook, and you try to load a picture. You try to access some news. You try to do Facebook Live, which is very, very critical. Facebook Live, because they know that 2020 elections, people are going to be doing a lot of Facebook Live, and that is what they don't want to see, because that is going to go globally. People are now going to monitor Ghana election from their homes. What is really happening on the ground? If we have invisible forces, we have Delta forces, we have whatever forces coming to take ballot box, it is going to be on Facebook. And it's going to be thousands and thousands of that across the world watching how Ghana election is going to be conducted. So they are very, very particular about Facebook. So they are going to tamper with the router, which is the least of their problem. The biggest thing they are going to tackle is the bandwidth manager. The bandwidth manager is the core, is the engine. Anochi is planning to shut down like 4 of the gaps that makes our internet run smoothly. We are going to very, very recently, very, very, very soon, what is going to happen is our internet is going to get slow and slow. Now, you see they have increased communication tax, yes. What they are trying to do is they are trying to make it very difficult for people to even buy data to start using social media. It's going to get to that point that you're going to start making excuses and be like, oh, our Facebook isn't working so smoothly. What is happening? And NCA will come and tell Ghanaians that We are giving you guys the service. We are supplying. Everything is intact. Maybe it is your service. It is your network. Contact MTN. Go to Vodafone. Go to whatever. It is not our fault, because when you check in our system is running perfectly. But Anoche, as a technical man, he has already shut down like 4 channels. And that we will all be trying to go through one hole, which is going to cause a lot of traffic. My fellow Ghanaians, this episode is very, 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 very important to me, because I am doing serious investigations about this Anoche guy. I'm talking to NASA, I'm talking to Cisco, I'm talking to a couple of people. His credibility is on the line. And Mr. Anoche, if you're listening to me, your credibility is on the line. And I don't think all that you have done at NASA and Cisco and other companies, you want it to go down the drain because you want to get yourself involved in this. To make sure that democracy, Ghana's democracy that we've held for all these years, because of your greed and because you want to keep some people where they are not supposed to be, you want to just play with the democracy of Ghana. Mr. Anoche, I will not allow this. And my fellow Ghanaians will not. If you dare, Mr. Anoche, you dare start this, distracting Facebook, the internet basically, I will personally come to Ghana, join my brothers and sisters, and you see one of the biggest youth uprising demonstration in the history of this country. We will protest with our life, and we will make sure that our democracy is protected, because we want to take our country back from criminals. Yes, we want to take the country back from thieves, arrogant thieves who have infested our system and don't want democracy to speak. Mr. Anoche, don't dare, because we have started doing our own work. I'm sitting here as a simple young man, but I have what it takes to make sure you are exposed if you try to tamper with the democracy of Ghana. My fellow Ghanaians, we don't have to joke with this. This is just the part 1. In the part 2, in the weeks to come, I'm going to break some things down for Ghanaians to understand what this government and using Anoche to make sure that the upcoming elections is not broadcast to the world. We will have to make sure that the internet, social media, plays a vital role in this year's election, next year's election, because that would show how far our democracy has come. So many stations are being closed down, from radio to TV. And then, now, the plan is to shut down social media. We will not agree. My fellow Ghanaians, I have always said that I'm just a messenger without a Quran or a Bible in his hand. A messenger who is ready to speak truth. Yes, to speak truth, irrespective of who is president or who is in power, to power. Fellow Ghanaians, my name has always been Kevin Ekobedu Taylor, and what you just heard here is with all due respect.